Until we fix white supremacy, everything we do as a nation will fail.
White people are the problem.
They are the problem.
White people ain't
White people killed Charlie Kirk. White people enslaved nations of people. White people ruined this country. White people, not black people. Black people built this country from the ground up. White people came and ruined it. The Italian mob, the Russian mob, the Irish mob.
Dividing.
America was divided before I came and talked to you.
Just get over it. Like, slavery was a long time ago. Why can't they just move on? Well, this is sort of precious coming from people who set off fireworks.
The only reason that white people in the United States or anywhere we are, in Europe, in Africa, in Australia, in Israel, wherever we are the colonizers.
Why don't you tell the United States to get over 9/11? Why don't you tell this country to get over all of the veterans who died in the Second World War instead of honoring them once a year? Why don't you tell your families to stop thinking about all of your ancestors who died? Why don't you turn down and burn down all of those headstones that you put up for all of your friends and relatives over the years?
A message to the crybaby white Americans and the fake patriots. White America has already lost. White people are the minority in the United States.
I'll start by asking this. Do you care more about helping Americans or immigrants in this claim?
Immigrants are Americans. I'm an immigrant. I'm American.
Well, immigrants are not Americans. Americans are the people that were born here.
That's not true. What's the basis of your claim?
Are you talking about people that get naturalized in the process of becoming American?
14th Amendment. Have you read it?
Okay, yes, I have.
Citizenship clause. So any persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States.
I'm aware of that.
There's about 40 to 50 million naturalized Americans in this country.
Yes, but...
You didn't seem aware of it because you said Americans versus immigrants.
Wait a minute, I came across these videos that you're going to see here, and it reminded me of something very powerful. This video is very powerful, by the way. I can just imagine how I'm hearing how white people are coming out to be so furious. They seem to be so furious when Black history has finally emerged. And in this video, you're going to watch the reactions from white Americans, what they had to say when it comes to the Black history and how they feel, and how other white Americans had to come and say clearly that they agree the Black history it's kind of really important to Black people. I want you guys to watch this video and I'll be back with more commentaries later on. Remember, this video is for educational purposes and creating awareness, and credit belongs to the original creators of all these videos who made them possible. Watch till the end.
Why don't you tell the United States to get over 9/11? Why don't you tell this country to get over all of the veterans who died in the Second World War instead of honoring them once a year? Why don't you tell your families to stop thinking about all of your ancestors who died? Why don't you turn down and burn down all of those headstones that you put up for all of your friends and relatives over the years? It's because it's important for us to remember. We learn from it. And until people show that they have learned from this, we will never forget. And we should never forget, even once they have learned from it, because this is a part of who we are. It's not just a part of who we are as survivors and children of survivors and relatives of survivors, but it's part of who we are as a nation. And this nation must never forget what it once did to its most vulnerable people.
A message to the crybaby white Americans and the fake patriots. White America has already lost. White people are the minority in the United States. And whether you know it or not, if you have an uprising against people of color in the United States, you're going to lose bigly. Bigly, as Trump would say. You're going to lose bigly. There are way more people of color in the United States than there are white people. It's just a sad fact for you that you don't already know, that you've already lost. So when you take up arms to start going after people of color, don't be surprised when you're outgunned and overrun by more people than you could ever imagine, because you will be defeated in your little so-called revolution against people of color. But God loves you.
I'm going to start by asking this. Do you care more about helping Americans or immigrants in this claim?
Immigrants are Americans. I'm an immigrant. I'm American.
Well, immigrants are not Americans. Americans are the people that were born here.
That's not true. What's the basis of your claim for that?
Are you talking about people that get naturalized in the process of becoming American?
14th Amendment. Have you read it?
Okay, yes, I have.
Citizenship clause. It says any persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States.
I'm aware of that.
There's about 40 to 50 million naturalized Americans in this country.
Yes, but
you didn't seem aware of it because you said Americans versus immigrants.
So, but are you understanding that the process of getting all these immigrants that come in here we've been also the millions of immigrants, it's up to the millions, it's the last 20 years now, and it has dramatically affected Americans here in the country, which
positively, I would argue.
People like me and everyone around here, we cannot find homes or even get jobs within our own fields that we go to college for, that we get into debt for. And because more blue-collar work, especially in construction, agriculture, and so forth, and the hospitality industry, we cannot get jobs in those fields, so it requires us...
Are you looking for a job in construction?
I am not, no. I went to college. Okay. Many people here are in college or went to college, or we can't even find jobs in our fields, also because of the H-1B visa program as well. But in regards to just your claim about immigrants specifically, we cannot even get jobs to pay for housing.
Unemployment is at a record low right now, even under Donald Trump. And I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but I would say unemployment under both Biden and Trump has been at record low levels.
Okay, is this in regards for American citizens?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm unaware of that statistic, but from what I see, from what I can
I'm an immigrant and an American, and I employ many American citizens, both naturalized and the ones born here. I employ
my parents came
Americans as defined by you.
My parents came as immigrants and became naturalized, so I'm not necessarily opposed to immigrants.
So you're the child of immigrants?
Correct, I'm a child of immigrants.
But you don't accept that immigrants are Americans?
Not at this moment.
So your parents are not Americans?
Not at this moment,
so hold on, your parents are not Americans?
They're citizens. They became naturalized.
You just said you can't be citizens by being naturalized.
No, I was born here, and I'm not opposed to naturalization. I never said that I'm against naturalization.
Are you against naturalization?
No, I never said I was against naturalization.
You began. Everyone was here. They can play it back on YouTube. You said Americans or immigrants. Are your parents Americans or immigrants?
No, my parents are United States citizens.
But they're immigrants, you said.
No, they came here as immigrants. However, but
so they
I
are
want to make the claim that we can't
I came here as an immigrant. I'm an immigrant.
At this point, when they came, the United States economy,
with the way this is going for you.
The United States economy was not at.
It's better now. The American economy is better than it's been for many years. And I can say that as someone who doesn't like Donald Trump.
We're giving millions and billions of dollars to people of minorities as well as
the reason the economy is doing badly now is Donald Trump's tariff policy.
We can't even get businesses.
In fact,
they can't even start businesses.
I'm an immigrant. I started a business.
No, I understand because the SBA is giving people billions of loans. They're giving them billions.
I didn't take any loans.
I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying that statistically speaking, they're giving billions of loans.
So should we do statistics? According to statistics, immigrants are 80% more likely to be entrepreneurs than native-born Americans.
Sure,
they're more likely to start businesses and hire Americans.
No, I'm aware of that.
Immigrants are more likely to pay in taxes than take out in benefits. They're more likely to add to innovation and jobs and wages. This is what the statistics show. The Congressional Budget Office. Let me just finish my point and then you come back in. The Congressional Budget Office, which is bipartisan, Republicans and Democrats both use it. They have said that the immigration surge that you mentioned will lead to an extra $9 trillion of GDP over the next 10 years. That amounts to $65,000 per American household. That's $65,000 for each and every one of you holding up a red flag.
Okay, I understand.
All right,
but
pause. You've been voted out. The only reason that white people in the United States or anywhere we are, in Europe, in Africa, in Australia, in Israel, wherever we are the colonizers. We are the colonizers, and we live at the expense of the assault, Europe's assault on Africa, the kidnapping of African human beings, the trafficking, all of these things that we hear today. This is where it came from. Hundreds of years of assaulting and stealing everything that African people and Africa as a continent had and putting it into the hands of white people. And so this is why, as the chairman has said, the true class struggle, the true working class in the world is the African and colonized working class, not white people, because all white people, and you know this is true. You and I know this is true by just living our lives and seeing it. All white people sit on the pedestal, on the backs of African and indigenous people. And, you know, the statistics are that even poor white people have an easier ability in a crisis to raise $3,000 in an emergency than middle-class African people do. Because we live in social wealth.
When they attack black people after they've been murdered, when they did absolutely nothing wrong, you're pushing us to the limit. And what do I mean by that? You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. What happened in Georgia? There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They were absolute savages. They murdered people. They raped people. They raped people. They enslaved people. They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen. And so don't you dare call a black man a savage after you murder him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not by them. For God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't. But if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers of the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages! They snatched babies, and they sold them as property, and they were mothers. Savages! That's what they were. You want to talk about stereotypes? Screw all of you who still defend that Confederacy, that monstrosity. Anyone who defends that is a barbaric savage.
Just get over it. Like, slavery was a long time ago. Why can't they just move on? Well, this is sort of precious coming from people who set off fireworks every July 4th. Because that's some old too, right? Independence Day, that didn't happen last week. We didn't break away from the British last Thursday. That's some old... But we're still celebrating that. So when it's stuff that makes us feel good, we love it. It's stuff that makes us feel better than others, superior, like we're the greatest people and the greatest country ever struck off in the forehead of God Almighty. Oh, we'll remember that forever. Racism in the 1700s, white supremacy embedded in the structure of the country at the founding of the country is most definitely implicated in his election, because without the obeisance to the Electoral College, without that compromise, we know he would not be president right now. So that is why we have to think about the past, and that is why the past affects the present.
I just feel like here in America, we've allowed black culture to have far too much free reign over popular society. And, you know, maybe it's because I grew up around black people that in relative comparison to most other white people, I'm just really unimpressed with what they bring to the table, and also I'm not afraid to say it. You take, for instance, right, the popularization of rap music, which really started to take hold in the early 2000s, I would say, which is the time when millennials were coming of age. And that sort of leads me to the question of why haven't we had any really great inventors come out of the millennial or Gen Z age? Well, like many predicaments, the causation tends to be at the foundation of the problem. Because when you allow shallow and vapid cultures to have vast amounts of influence over the things that you ingest, you will be able to observe the effects that it has on subtle aspects of your life and character. Things like your thought patterns, your value systems, your perspectives are all informed by the things that you feed your brain. White people have been by far one of the most innovative groups throughout the course of humanity. White men, for example, it is ingrained in our DNA to be problem solvers. We fix things. You know, it's just sort of instinctual for us. I hear a cabinet that's making a noise, I have to fix it immediately. If there's a tree branch that's hanging, that might fall and hit an old lady. We need to take care of that. That's just the way we are. And these aren't the kind of value systems that are presented in aspects of black culture, particularly in things like hip-hop music. And what it comes down to is the distinction between materialism and value. White men used to instinctively put a high precedent on the value that they bring to the table, but over the course of a couple generations or so, we've watched ourselves descend into this mental state where there's a hyperfixation on vapid and insipid material gain for the sake of vapid and insipid material gain. Steve Jobs, probably the last really great world-changing innovator to have lived in recent human history, he changed the world and he listened to the Beatles.
So it seems that black people are the majority in America, isn't it? And the funny thing about about these white people is that many white people came, those who are against the black history, and they are of course furious because the forbidden history has come out very clearly, and they don't want to hear about that history anymore. It seems that the black people have always been the people who invaded so many things in America. They're the one who built America. Because you remember back then, the black people, when they were taken to America as slaves, okay? And that's changed everything. That changes everything now. Because if you can imagine black Americans being the people who were mistreated, and right now, the table has turned. You know, white people some of them, not all, they have always felt like they are the supreme, like they are this powerful, that they can do anything. And that's why you see many people have been especially black people have been always mistreated in some ways in this scenario. And guys, I want you guys to watch this video to the end. I'll be back with more commentaries. Remember to like the video, and let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. And remember to subscribe, guys. It's the first time watching this video, kindly subscribe. Let's hit the road. Watch to the end. I'll be back with more commentaries, guys.
There is nothing more pathetic than white nationalism, because can you imagine being such a loser in life that the thing that you're the most proud of is the fact that you were born with a lack of melanin in your skin? Like, great job, boys. You worked really hard at that. I mean, what's next? You're going to create your entire identity around the color of your eyes or the shape of your feet or the size of your... Okay, so some guys do that. Like, imagine having so little to be proud of in yourself that then you make that your entire identity, to the point that you join a group of other men who are also so proud of the lack of melanin in their skin, and then y'all jump in the back of U-Haul vans in matching outfits that your mommies pressed for you and get driven to cities to march around together in unison with flags. And imagine being so foolish and uneducated that you think that the color of someone's skin is reflective of who they are as a person, or that you can even tell what someone's racial or ethnic makeup is based on how they look. This is the modern day Klan, and white nationalism is, as it always has been, a stain on American society.
FBA ideology is very dangerous because while it claims to be pro-Black American, it is aggressively pro-American. And you can't be pro-American to a country whose fundamentals are anti-Blackness and call it liberation. But you know what you can call it? White nationalism, because that's exactly how right-wing politics work. They tell Black people to disengage, to stop resisting, and to prioritize loyalty to the US state over solidarity with other Black people. This isn't new either, because at every Black liberation movement, there were always people who said, now is not the time, don't rock the boat. There were Black people who opposed slave revolts, sit-ins. Of course, disengagement is less exhausting, but are you going to be the person to stand up for what's right, or are you going to be the person in the back of the bus telling Rosa to just comply, you want to go home?
And here's another thing that is going to make some people mad, but it's all right. I'm mad because some folks are trying to get in the way of you learning history, because this is history. I don't want to say repeating itself, it's more of an extension of history. And here's why. You see the same verbiage that we've heard over the course of the last several years. Parents' choice, school choice. Well, those didn't just magically start happening here 5 years ago. No, go back to right after Brown v. Board of Education in 1954. And what you will find, look at places like Boston. Just go Google Boston busing and look at what happened to the Boston school district, the public school district, in the wake of Brown v. Board of Education. I need y'all to go do some homework, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more. But what we have to stop doing in this country, and I know it's hard when you have a system of government that is trying to limit what you know and how you're able to receive information, but this is all there for us, y'all. There's no reason for us not to know how we got here. That is part of how we got here. You get what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? The more you know, which is why they're trying to fight against you knowing, the more powerful you are. When they say knowledge is power, y'all, they weren't just saying it as a buzz phrase. Knowledge really is power. I need y'all to go look at what happened in Boston after Brown v. Board of Education. Y'all go check it out.
White people have never built their own houses, farmed their own farms, worked manual labor in the history of the United States. So when all the workers are deported and there's no one else here to fulfill that role, because Americans, especially the ones that look like me, are not going to do manual labor for $5, $3, whatever.
My husband grew up in a house that his white Scottish grandfather built with his own 2 hands. My grandmother picked tobacco on the farm that her dad owned, and then her sons picked tobacco on the same farm after that. This nation was literally settled by European trailblazers who farmed their own land and built their own homes. Just because your pasty rear end grew up with Charmin soft hands holding a silver spoon does not mean every other Caucasian did, so stop speaking like you have any clue about anybody else's story. But I'll tell you what, if you want to turn this into some little slave narrative, then congratulations, you've succeeded, because admitting that you want brown people to pick your crops and build your back deck for like $4 an hour puts you in some pretty historically bad company.
As an American, there are some things that you can truly never fully understand until you leave the United States. I moved out of the United States 2.5 years ago, and since then, there have been moments where certain things happen that completely and utterly break everything that I've ever known. And
generations of white Americans were raised with a story that made us feel like heroes. We learned about abolitionists, not about the banks that provided insurance on enslaved people. We learned about the civil rights movement, but not about the white mobs who terrorized black families for trying to move into a better neighborhood. Systemic racism didn't just hurt black people, although they were the ones that took most of it, but it also misinformed white people, and that pisses me off. It trained us to see unfairness and injustice as progress. That's why when black folks talk about redlining, medical racism, or why certain laws hit their communities so much harder, many white people are just confused, or worse, and probably more commonly, they're defensive. It's not just ignorance, it's conditioning. The system made sure we didn't see the whole picture, because once we did, we might start asking too many questions. White people need to hear the truth from people who live it. But that takes a toll on black people. They've had to survive what we've only begun to learn about. And it's not fair to put that burden on them. That's why I study, listen, and talk to other white folks. It's not about guilt, and it's not about blame. It's about repair. Black people already know this history. White people need to know it too, because it's our history. It's our history too. Silence keeps the system working in the way that is unjust. Don't be afraid. You should be mad about what was kept from you on purpose. Now you have the opportunity to learn about it and start organizing your life differently. I am not an expert, but I love learning.
Hey, white leftists, do you even realize that you've been manipulated? No? It's all right. I'll let Zoran Mamdani explain exactly how they do it.
I think that with the interesting thing about our communities here is I think that minority communities, because we have never had representation, we are tied much more to identity. White communities, they've had representation forever. And so for them, their tie is a little less identity and a little more ideology. And so what I mean by that is we have a lot of voters here who think of themselves first as progressive voters. And so we reach out to them speaking about our platform, our progressive platform. And you're very right that you need someone in the middle to be a validator, someone to tell them to trust us, believe in us. We've had that with Tiffany Caban and Cynthia Nixon.
Now go back and listen to that again. What he's talking about is getting white progressives to trust people within their movement as validators. These progressive voices are telling white leftists, trust this guy, trust his plan, trust his policies. And then they build that trust into a form of political power. It's certainly not about winning an argument, because the entire basis of their argument is a failure to begin with. It's about building a coalition through trusted progressive voices and using that coalition to take power. In that entire 45-second video, did you hear political strategy or did you hear manipulation? Because Zoran Mamdani gave you 45 seconds to try to decide for yourself.
White people are the problem. They are the problem. White people ain't White people killed Charlie Kirk. White people enslaved nations of people. White people ruined this country. White people, not black people. Black people built this country from the ground up. White people came and ruined it. The Italian mob, the Russian mob, the Irish mob. America was divided before I came and talked to you.
Let me ask you.
You were sitting here with people who disagree with Trump and you agree with Trump.
Yeah.
That's division.
Freedom of speech.
That's division. I didn't divide you.
No, you're saying black and white are different.
What's the difference? So what's the difference between me saying that and what's his name? Stephen Johnson saying the Democrats are the problem. Is Stephen Johnson not dividing the country politically?
100%.
Is Donald Trump not dividing the country politically?
100%.
Is his office not dividing the country politically?
100%.
So white people are the problem. Not some black man that's sitting out here asking interviews. I'm not dividing the country. White people are dividing the country.
Hold on one second.
And to that point, when was America ever united?
Hold on.
When was America?
We haven't been. That's the fucking problem.
Whoever.
Hold on.
Who caused that?
Hold on.
Who caused that?
Fucking white people.
Bravo.
So as we are going to wrap this video, I just want to ask you guys a question. What do you think this thing when it comes to white supremacy, and let me know what you think about this particular video, because it's kind of really touching to see that or to show to prove that, you know, Black history matters a lot. And sometimes I feel so happy when I bring these videos to you, because there is some people who really ignore Black history, who never want the history to be told. And I'm happy that nowadays even we have those parents who are teaching their kids, their white kids, about the Black history. And that really matters a lot, because they learn to become they know that racism is bad. They grow respecting each other, and that's how we grow as a community, as a society, as a country, as a nation, and that's how we unite together. Let me know, guys, what you think about this video. It has been a pleasure to bring you this video. Let me know what you think about it. Remember, guys, to subscribe to this amazing channel so that we can continue growing. And sorry, guys, I'm going to buy a mic so that I can be audible enough. I don't have a mic, and or if you can support me with one mic, it's okay. I'll be appreciating. I need a microphone which I can be able to use it visibly, and ignore the background because I'm having some chicken around here. So sorry, guys, but the message is the one which is so important. Thank you so much, guys, for watching up to this point. I'll be ending by saying thank you. Stay tuned. We have another video which is coming soon, very, very soon, and that's how we wrap it. Like it. Also, you can share so that other people can know what's happening around the world. And this is just to inform you and to create an educational video for you guys to know what's happening in this nation, in America, in the world today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. Peace, one love. I'll see you in the next one.